So, Connecticut's facing a pretty serious housing crisis, and the state has just rolled out a brand new playbook to deal with it. It's called the Housing Growth Act, and in this explainer, we're going to break down its three key strategies for changing how and where new homes actually get built. But let's be real, how do you solve a problem that massive? There's no single silver bullet, right? So instead of trying just one thing, Connecticut's new law is taking a multi-pronged approach. It recognizes that you have to attack the issue from a bunch of different angles all at once. All right, so here's our roadmap for this. First, we'll look at the big picture strategy. Then, we're going to dive into the three main tools in this new playbook. One to help you save for a home, another to make sure towns are actually planning for growth, and finally, changing the rules to encourage more building, especially near public transit. So what exactly is in this new playbook? Well, it's not just one single rule. Think of it more like a three-part strategy. It's designed to hit the housing problem from totally different sides, targeting individuals, towns, and developers all at the same time. And those three parts are, first, a totally new way to help people with their personal savings for a down payment. Second, a mandate that basically forces towns to stop just talking about the problem and actually plan for housing growth. And third, new zoning rules to make building different kinds of homes a lot easier and faster. Okay, so let's dig into the first tool in the playbook. This one is aimed directly at you, the individual, and it tackles one of the biggest hurdles to owning a home, saving up that massive down payment. The Act creates something called the First-Time Homebuyer Savings Account. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, a special, dedicated account just for saving up for a down payment and covering those pesky closing costs on your first home, as long as it's right here in Connecticut. Now, here's the really cool part, the financial incentive. Any money you put in is deductible on your state taxes, and any interest it earns, also state tax-free. Plus, it's not just you who can put money in. Your parents, family, or even your employer can contribute to help you get your goal faster. So what does that actually look like? Well, if you're a married couple filing jointly, you can deduct up to $5,000 a year from your state income for what you put in. For individuals, it's $2,500. It's a direct financial reward for saving up. But, and this is important, there is one big catch. This account is strictly for buying a home. If you pull the money out for any other reason, you're going to get hit with a 10% state penalty. So it's a dedicated tool for a very dedicated purpose. Okay, next up is the second tool. This one shifts the focus from you, the individual saver, to the towns themselves. And this is a big deal, because this part of the act moves away from just suggesting that towns deal with the housing shortage and starts requiring them to have a real concrete plan for growth. So under this new law, every single town has a choice to make. They can either roll up their sleeves and create their own custom municipal housing growth plan, something tailored to their community, or they can just adopt the plan that's already been created for their entire region. Either way, doing nothing is officially off the table. This whole thing creates a new cycle of accountability. It starts at the regional level, where they figure out the overall housing need. Then, the towns have to create or adopt a plan to meet that need. And here's the crucial part. That plan has to be sent to the state for approval. Once it's approved, towns have to actually do it and report on their progress every single year. And now for the third tool, which really gets to the heart of the matter, making it easier to actually build things. This part of the law goes right after local zoning rules, which for decades have often made it super difficult to build anything other than a classic single-family house. And to really get this, you need to understand this key legal term, as of right. Basically, it means that if a project follows all the existing clearly defined rules, it gets a green light. No need to go through a long, unpredictable special permit process. This is a total game changer because it adds certainty and speed for developers. The Act takes that as of right concept and creates a whole new category called priority housing development zones. You could think of these as special areas that towns can create where certain types of housing can be built much more easily, cutting right through all that usual red tape. So, what kind of density are we talking about here? Well, in these priority zones, developers have to be allowed to build at least 4 single-family homes on an acre, or 6 duplexes, or 10 multifamily units. Now, for a lot of suburban Connecticut towns where 1-acre zoning is the norm, these numbers are a huge shift. It's a clear signal to use land more efficiently. Now, that third tool, the zoning reform, it has a very specific strategic focus. It's not just about building more, it's about building smarter. And that means building near public transportation. In these designated areas near train stations and major bus routes, something called middle housing. Think duplexes, townhouses, small apartment buildings up to 9 units. It has to be allowed as of right. The same goes for larger apartment buildings if they include affordable units. The goal here is really clear. Create denser, more walkable communities that give people more housing options and get more people using public transit. So there you have it. You've got a tool for savers, a mandate for planners, and a new rulebook for builders. This is honestly one of the most comprehensive approaches to housing the state has ever tried. The billion-dollar question that's left is this: will this new playbook actually be enough to rewrite Connecticut's housing future?